Okay, so welcome everyone to my session in Gitlab CI. My name is Henrik. I'm an R&D developer with very much focus on QA automation, like quality assurance matters. I like to develop, and besides developing and working for Configura, I also like to play sports. I've been coaching at points, like coaching table tennis. Every time I coach, I always tell my students that it's very important to not only play table tennis with your arm, but very strong core muscles and very strong legs is also important. And the same can be applied to testing, actually, and continuous integration in general, because you need a strong foundation to run your test on for them to actually bring you some real value. And that's what you have in front of you right here, Gitlab CI, a strong foundation. So, as I have said, Gitlab CI provides you a strong base to run your test builds and, yeah, test in general. Uh, this will then help you keep the system stable. It will also save you time because you do less manual tasks, and this precious time can be spent elsewhere. So after this presentation, I want you to all know how to set up your own configuration. Uh, not not something really advanced, but I'm gonna go through the basics, and I'm gonna repeat them a few times because I want you to all get the basics. Then the advanced stuff won't be hard at all. So here's the agenda for today. First, I'm gonna show you an overview of the GitLab CI, the whole system. Then I'm gonna show you how to set up the test machines. I'm gonna actually do a live demo here. So this computer right in front of me doesn't have any setup. I'm gonna do it from scratch on this laptop. And then I was gonna show you a very simple test configuration. Simple, but super powerful. But to do that, you need some predefined script that we have in a separate CI repo. But to gain access to this repo, you need to get invited. And yeah, that's my contact cards. So yeah, just drop me an email afterwards if you are interested. Otherwise, we're going to make all the scripts available later on. But that might take a while. So I recommend you to actually drop me an email. And in the end, we're also going to go through some more advanced configurations. Uh, the word advanced here might be a bit misleading, but I would call them more like above basics. So that's actually the less important part because I want you to know the basics. So yeah, don't focus too much on the advanced parts. Try to focus mostly on the first 3 steps. So I'm going to start off with showing you the core functionality of GitLab CI. For me, this is the most essential part. Uh, so on the left side, you have a commit, and then we have 2 pipelines, a CI pipeline and a CD pipeline. CI pipeline stands for continuous integration pipeline. You all know continuous integration, right? It's when you create software in small parts and then merge them together into a larger, into the main branch, and then you have your whole software. So you basically create small chunks. Then you can test this that it actually works with the rest of it. And it's very important whenever you merge this small part into a larger part that it works, so you don't ruin the main part. So that's when you want to use the CI pipeline. Then we also have the CD pipeline, and that's when you would like to build the actual MSI file or actually release the version. So continuous deployment pipeline. In order to run your pipelines, you need the so-called runners. It's just a machine, computer, resource registered to the GitLab server. Then the GitLab server will coordinate job this machine whenever there is any available jobs. And this can be any computer. It could be a strong server. It can be your desktop computer or even a laptop. But of course, the server will be able to handle more jobs concurrently than what a laptop would do. Uh, yeah, but my recommendations is to use the desktop computer for your very first one. Don't use the laptop. And when you feel like you really need the system, then you can upgrade to a server. So this is how it looks like from the GitLab webpage. So you see here we have 3 different stages, like a compile all stage, bill of material stage, and also a merge stage. And below them you have the jobs. Each job within the same stage will have the possibility to run in parallel, while jobs in different stage has to wait until the job in the previous stage has finished. So in this example here, all the jobs are actually run sequentially. Nothing runs in parallel. So this is actually what you need for the whole system. You need so-called runners, which are just the computer resources to pick up jobs whenever there are any jobs available. And depending on the size of your runner machine, you can have one or many running on them concurrently. And you also need a configuration, which I will show you later on too, how it works, where you define the jobs. A job can actually be anything, but we're going to limit, in this presentation, we're going to limit it to builds and tests. And then we have different type of triggers whenever we want to start a job. It could be a push, it could be a merge request, or we can even schedule it to run like once every 24 hours, once every week, or yeah. And then there are some other triggers, but I want to keep this as simple as possible for today. So here's the configurant approach. But first, I want to describe how the initial approach set up by GitLab is done. So the GitLab approach is to first test on the feature branch, and then you merge into the main branch, and then you run the pipeline once again to verify that it works. So that means that errors can actually get into the main branch. I think everyone here is a developer, right? So you know that if it works on your branch, it doesn't mean that if you merge it to another branch, it will work in that branch too, right? Because since you branched out, it could actually get new changes into the main branch. And when you merge back in, your changes might interact strangely with the other changes. So the way we do it at Configura is to actually test during the merge request. So we have set up our script to, whenever we create a merge request, the merge request will actually trigger a pipeline that simulates the result. So we actually create a local result of what we would be getting if we actually merged. And then we test this result before, and we can actually decide if the changes will interact strangely with the main branch before we merge. Going to GitLab webpage again, this is how it looks if merge request has passed the pipeline. You see it's all green and nice, and even the merge bottom is green. How is Here is how it looks like if the pipeline fails. You see that the merge button is red, and you have the warning sign in front of it. And I also removed the name of the guy because I didn't really want to show up as a failure. Yeah, you're laughing, because we all like to laugh when others fail sometimes. If you don't believe me, ask yourself why so many people actually like watching reality TV. Yeah, but to be fair, we all get it to this point at some point. I mean, we all mess up sometimes. So, time for some live demo here. Um, so now I'm actually going to set up this computer in front of me as a runner. I'm gonna register it to the GitLab server. So first off, I need to download the installation file, which can be done in the GitLab webpage. You all recognize this, right? It's just the settings. So you need to actually be a maintainer in order to do this. I'm gonna download the yeah, and here, if you have a 64-bit computer, even if it's Intel, you should pick AMD 64. Because yeah, that's just how it works. And if you want to know more about that, you can probably Google and see a history of why it became that way back in the days. But that's how it is. So now with that downloaded, start command prompt. Oh, actually, create it from here. I'm gonna do it from Explorer folder runner. So this is actually a folder where the runner will operate inside. I'm just gonna put binary here, and then I don't like to have it such a long name, so I'm gonna shorten it a bit. So now I can use this file to actually register my runner and install it. So first off, I'm gonna register my runner, and it's easily done like the runner and then register. Yep, and now I need to put some information, which I can find in the runner page, GitLab web page. Paste it here, and now I also need the token, which I also can find here. And now I just need to add a description for this specific machine. It could be anything. I just like to put the same as what the machine is named. So porch. And then I can choose some tags, but this is not really important in the beginning. So I would advise you to just skip it the first time. Enter. And here there are different type of runners, but right now I'm only been running the shell one. It's basically just using a command prompt to define all my scripts. Yeah. So now the runner is registered. I also need to install it. And that's simply done by GitLab runner install. And then I could add some parameters here, like which user it should use in this specific machine, and also like a name for the service. But I'm gonna keep it simple here today, so I'm just gonna hit GitLab install and then enter and use the standard login. So now when that's finished, the runner should show up here in the list. Runner, and you see, there I have the runner where I just register port. So this computer can actually pick up jobs now if there are any available jobs in this specific repository. Before we go on, I just want to show you that you can actually change the configuration of what I just installed. So we're just going to look for GitLab runner here, properties, and yeah, and I can choose another account here. I normally choose an account that actually has CT installed once, because then you have the login and everything available. So you won't have any login issues. So for this computer here, I would put my test account, the same one as I logged onto CT Designer with once. Yeah, and that's basically it. And Yeah, here we also have some extra configuration you can do for this specific machine. You don't really need to change anything of these. Uh, I only, most likely, you will only like to change the concurrent one, and that's how many concurrent jobs this computer are allowed to pick up. Since this is a laptop, I would probably just keep it as one. Or to be honest, I recommend you to not use a laptop at all as a test machine, at least not for this type of testing. Right? So besides machines, you also need the configuration, as I mentioned before. So we actually have a very simple quick start script you can utilize if you want to get started and you don't want to learn everything about how runner works and how configuration works. Uh, but to do that, you remember that you need to drop me an email so I can invite you. Uh, so in order to use this script, or in order to actually create any kind of configuration, the first thing you need to do is to create a file named .gitlab-ci.yml, and you need to put this file in your root folder of your repository. And then the first thing you need to do is to actually include the predefined script, assuming you would like to use it. And you do that by the include keyword, as you can see there. And after that, you can choose to define stages if you want to. But please keep in mind that if you choose to define stages, you also need to choose the stage for all the jobs you define later on. That's so if you leave the stages out, you don't need to pick any stages for your jobs. But if you decide to use stages, you have to actually define all of your jobs, which I think you actually want to do. And after that, you need to choose a stage, as I told you about, and you also need to pick a name for a specific job. Oh, by the way, if anyone has any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to just interrupt at any point. All right? Yeah, so let's keep going. So this job is named test bill of material, and stage is bill of material test. And it also extends some of our scripts. So this will actually use a setup script that we have. It will also use some just some predefined goodies that we have. I will show you what exactly it is later on. But if you use the predefined script, you see that the script part is just a single row. And that's all you need to actually run a test. Just one single row. So we just put the ID of the test. But before that, we put some other things. Yeah, I'll show you that later on. Just save that. And then we also have the only parameter, and that's to choose when we would like to run the job. If you want to run it for every commit you push to your server, then you can just leave it out. Just don't write the only keyword. So, do you recognize this? Some of you saying yes, I think. Uh, this picture is taken from CET developer or CET operator. It's the build central view. This is the system we have been using so far before we started using Gitlab CI. If you have been using this system, you know all about how to create this kind of build items and these jobs. And I would like you to reduce the scripts if you have any, you can simply just put the row there where you use COP, which stands for command line operator, and then you put make, and you just put the same ID as you have chosen for your build item. If you're new to this, you can just go to our wiki page, and we have a very nice page saying how you can define your build items. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into that one right now because I think we have had some other presentations about it before. Uh, Here is another way to interact with the designer. This is by using a .cmd file. It's basically skipping all the operator parts, so you won't get any parsing or any. Yeah, I strongly recommend you to not do this, to be honest. So just use the other way I just showed you with the build items because it's much easier. Yeah, besides setting up your configuration, you also need to set up 2 variables, and then you're actually ready to go. But the variables you need to set up is a Gitlab CI token. These variables need to be put in your settings, your GitLab, on the GitLab webpage. So you just have a token with at least read access to base. Preferably not a real user, but it doesn't really matter. So you can use a real user, especially if you don't have many developers working on your repository. And besides that, you also need to pick a CI branch, like which base branch you should work against, like version 10.0 or version 10.5, etc. See anything? Okay, okay. Don't even try to see anything. It's no point. What I want to show you here is this is everything you get if you choose to use our predefined scripts. So you see the thing on the left side, it's all the setup. Since runners operate in a way that it throws everything away between each test runs, just to make sure that a test can never affect another test, or a build cannot affect another build. So you need to actually set up everything from scratch in each test runs or each test build. And that's what our script here is doing. Normally, when you develop in the developer environment in operator or developer, this is done by operator. But when you're running on a runner machines, you actually need to throw everything away in between each runs. So that's why we need this script to actually set it all up for us. And it also cleans up afterwards. So that's why you just need a single row to run your scripts. Utilize our predefined scripts. And here's just some example results of one of the customers that agreed to be testing this for me. So they choose to have 3 different stages and 3 different jobs. And you can see that the configuration is not as huge as the one I just showed you, because they just include, as I told you about, and they also define their own stages. They After that, they just define 3 jobs. And yeah, the text is very small, but it's not important at all. I just want to show you how little code you need to actually do this. And then you can also click into one of the jobs. I see the ones with green checkbox, and you will get into this result view. And the log here, see the one with lots of green text, says all the steps that this job has been doing. So you can actually get a full log of everything that has been done. And on the right side, you can see that you can also press the download button. to download the full logs, it's actually the same logs that you find under your write folder normally. Uh, it's called artifacts. So those are actually uploaded to the GitLab server because, as you mentioned before, everything is thrown away between each test runs. So you need to actually upload the logs. But this is also part of the predefined script. So this is nothing you need to do. As I just mentioned, it's predefined already. Nothing you need to do. But this is how it's done if you're interested. You just choose which path should be uploaded. So to summarize it all, everything on the right side is what you get if you choose to use our script. Otherwise, you have to set it up yourself. Uh, I strongly recommend you to at least use our script the very first time you set this up, and then when you get an idea of how it's done, you can do your own thing. Yeah, and this is all the steps that scripts include. We set up all the variables to run CT Designer. It also performs this simulated merge, but of course only if you choose to run it on merge request. It also cleans everything up afterwards, and it also uploads the logs for you. As I mentioned before, the advanced part is not very important. So before we go on, I would like to ask you all if you have any specific jobs you would like to use GitLab CI for, or if you have any questions, I could try to answer right away. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, very good question. At this point, no, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's how you have to do it in that case. Yeah, unless no, that's the only way right now. Yeah, but good point. Uh, mhm, mhm. One for the target branch. Oh, so you mean like which? So you want to, depending on if you merge to like branch A or branch B, you want to like run a specific job based on that, right? That's what your question is. Okay, because that's actually one of that's actually exactly the next slide. So this is not set up, guys. This is not set up. This is not set up. No, what he was talking about is the variable in the GitLab CI, which base branch you are working against. So if you have a customer repo that works against version 10.0 or 10.5. Hmm? Because the script needs to know which branch it should, which base branch it should pull from and set up. So no, like you have your customer repo, right? You also have the base repo. You work inside. You work inside two different repos, so you need to like sync them together. Yeah, yeah, base. Oh, yeah, yeah, core. Sorry for wording. But so maybe I misunderstood your question then. hmm Uh, so we have like here, as you were asking before, if you want to do a merge request to a specific branch and only trigger. So this example here, will only trigger on the branch with name version, and then followed by a number, followed by the word beta. As you can see, the row there, variables, it's just a Ruby regex to filter out which branch to only run against. The rest of this script is actually not very important, so please only look at the variable. And if you are kind of new to like regex or Ruby regex, there are very good online editors you can try it out on. So just Google for that. Yeah, but before I go on with more above basic stuff, so I would like to ask you again, anyone here that would like to hear about some very specific things, like any jobs you would like to see? Maybe I can even do it live here for you if it doesn't take too much time. Okay, sure. No, go ahead. If I understand your question really. Oh, oh, but that's not a job. It's not a GitLab CI problem, right? It's more like a problem where you need something to check your whole code base that it actually follows the convention. Yeah, I would like to do it live for you, but not really. No. But I remember there was one gentleman asking me in one of our Q&A sessions about how to set up merges, like automated merges. I'm not sure if you're here today. Maybe not. uh, okay, so not gonna go into that one. Yeah. Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Let's, I actually have a script ready for that. So see here, just a Python script. I can make. You don't need to understand it, so it's lots of code. I know. Uh, I can make it available in the CI script in the predefined repository we have. Uh, so you basically just need to call the script whenever you want to create a merge request, whether it's scheduled on changes. So then I may ask you, you want to do it like scheduled to do it like once a week, once in a day, or would you prefer to create this kind of merges every time anything changes in your branch? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. So I would do it in two jobs. So first, one job that actually is trigger this script here that I will be making available. And then you have another job that actually accepts the merge request. And why I like to do it that way is because when a script creates like some kind of merge, things may happen, like you might get conflicts, you might even create some kind of errors. So if you have two separate jobs, you can create a merge request, then check this merge request that it doesn't have any conflicts. You can also add tests to it to make sure that it actually works together with the new branch you're going to merge into. And then you have a job in the end that accepts the merge request. Uh, and here I actually have one example job of how to accept the merge request here. I'm not sure if you guys in the rare can see this, but it's also in the presentation, and I will make this one available later on too, so you will have it. Yeah. Any other questions before I go on? I think it's much more important to actually answer your real about basic things than me making something up. Oh, please. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So yes, 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 exactly. Yes. So yeah, but what I was trying to say is it's not really a GitLab CI matter. It's more a matter of setting up the other script you're talking about, because that's the hard part, not really adding it to a job. Okay. Any other questions or jobs you would like to have? Yeah, feel free. Yep. As long as you have it on the running machine. But then again, in the setup phase, you can like install, for example, if you like Python, need C++, you can make it also install all the dependencies you need. Yep. 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 We're actually using that for some other stuff, but putting CT Designer in Docker hasn't been any success so far. And the main issue is that you need a graphic card to run CT Designer properly, and Windows Docker doesn't support it. But if you have like the resources, you can always host a Linux machine that then hosts a Windows virtual machine, and then inside of the virtual machine you do. Yeah, that one works. I actually tried that one. That one works. But as you hear, it's so much work. So maybe not worth it in the end. Yeah, but that's one way of doing it if you really want to use it. Yeah. Any other questions before I go on? Any jobs you would like to hear our thoughts about? Yeah. Craziest must have been the Docker one. I think. Yeah. Yeah. It is possible to have all the CI configuration in a separate GitLab repository. Uh, then you don't need to rely on that all your branches are updated, because you're always including from a master branch or another branch from a repository. This is something you might want to do later on, because then you can do changes on this repository whenever you want, and everyone will have this, even if they branched out at earlier, earlier date before you actually branched out your feature branch. The changes will be automatically updated into these branches too, because in a separate repo. Uh, yeah, not much to say about it. The only bad thing about this is that you actually need a separate repo to maintain. But otherwise, that's how we do it, and I really recommend using it. And scheduled jobs, we were talking a little bit about it during one of your questions, but this is how you do it. You just define a job as you define any other job, but then you go to the GitLab webpage and you press on the schedule tab, and then you define the intervals, like how long take before the next run. Yeah, not much to say about it. We try to keep all our jobs to always have a trigger instead of scheduling them, because scheduling tests, it works, but then if the duration between each test runs are too long, it will be harder to actually backtrack and see which commit actually caused error. So I suggest like having scheduled jobs for less important things. Uh, it's also possible to use the command. Oh, please. Mhm. So you basically want to do a merge from one branch to another every month, right? Yeah, that's possible. I mean, in that case, you could always create a schedule that is not scheduled. So you have like a button where you basically just click whenever it's time to merge. I think that's safer in your specific case. Yeah, but you just create, you just use the same job as we were talking about before, like one job setting up a merge request, and then you can run your test and do whatever you want, and then another job that actually accepts it in the end, just to prevent all this kind of conflicts and all these things happening. So it's much safer to have a job creating this, and then you just put these jobs in a schedule through this webpage here. Yeah, I'm not sure if that answers your question. Oh, you actually don't need to do a manual merge. No, because you have the job that creates a merge request already. The only thing you need to do is trigger it. So you just it's literally just a play button. Let me show you instead. So I'm just gonna go into, no, you starting is manual, but not stopping. So this is how schedules look like. This is the schedule we use in core, our base branches. And you see, it's literally just a play button, as I said. So you have a schedule here, but you can decide to make the schedule never run except when you actually press the play button. So then you just go here and press this button like every month you want to do the merge. That's how I would do it, at least. Yeah, it's also possible to deploy your builds. Anything you build, you can utilize the same operator, a command line version of operator. So in this example here, I just upload the package cm.core3d with a name that's actually, yeah, just the demo name, and it will show up at my Configura. So that's one way of deploying your build. It's also possible to tag jobs and runners. For example, when you have like a job that has to go to a specific runner because this runner has like Python or something installed, then you can just tag them and put the same tag on the runner. Yeah, it's really good way for testing also, because you have like a test tag. If you have a test job, you can force it to some very specific test machine, so you can actually always monitor it. Hmm. So I want to finish this off with a sneak peek. Uh, in the future, we plan to add this feature in Central. So you can just create a job by right-clicking on any of the build items and create runner job. So you don't actually need to even create the scripts as I've been talking about today. I strongly recommend you to at least learn how it works, though, than relying on some UI. But this is what we're planning to do in the future. Not sure when this is gonna be released, but we'll have it at some point. Uh, and then you also have some very useful pages. The top one is a guide written by one of my colleagues. It covers basically everything we are using to run our scripts. Very much details. If you have any questions, you can always go to this wiki page first. And then we have two pages by GitLab themselves. One that describes how to create a configuration file, and then the second one with lots of predefined variables. And out of all these pages, the one at the bottom is the one I've been using the most. It's very helpful. So thank you very much for your interest and attention. And well, I think it's time for lunch now, right?